Good morning, everyone. How is everyone today? What is going on with my microphone? Huh. Is my microphone on the right thing? Yeah. I guess it sounds fine. Y'all will let me know if it doesn't. I wonder if I did something weird. Nah, should be fine. It seems my levels aren't nearly as high as aren't as high as they normally are. Oh well. I just woke up again, so I'm kind of still out of it a little bit. But we will get that figured out. Hope y'all are having a great Thursday so far. I kind of made a little mess on my mat last night, and I will show you why and how. Okay, thank you for the microphone test. When I ran some errands yesterday, the knife I carried, because I was asleep. Good morning, TC. So I can't say I carried it during the night. Aha, maybe it's because it's sitting further away than normal. So I ran a few errands last night and I carried my Asher, my cheaper Asher, and it worked great. It did really good on opening a few packages. That's always cool. I was sad I didn't receive any knives yesterday. Speaking of which, TC, I believe your two-son is out for delivery today at your house. So that's cool. I got some new little cotton polishing wheels for a Dremel yesterday, sorry. And these are pretty cool. These are small sized, but they're little cotton things. And they're pretty durable. I used a couple of them last night and left little shreds of stuff all over the table here. Part of where I made the mess, but you get your chipmunk today, drummer? That's awesome. So yeah, these worked good, and I got them all black from polishing a little bit, and I went and washed them out and dried them out, and they seem strong enough to reuse at least once. So that's cool. Hopefully I can reuse them. And then last night I also went to Home Depot, and I got tired of burning up the brushes on my other cheap rotary tools from Harbor Freight and such. So I went and bought a real Dremel. I got the I did my choosing wisely. Good morning, just in time. I picked the 4000 because it was corded. I didn't want a cordless one because I was afraid I would go through batteries too quick. So I got the 4000, which is the 1.6 amp version, which means it's got a little bit more torque and kick than the other ones. And it came with a couple of attachments and all the little discs and stuff in a nice little case. So I went and grabbed one of those so I would have one that wouldn't wear out. Got a couple of extra ones now, but that's all good. So I grabbed that last night. I used to have a really nice Dremel, and they make some that are $150, but I didn't see the need to get one of those. Just in Time had a win. He won something. Are you familiar with the country rapper Just in Time? Is your name Justin? Sorry, I've got lots of questions. Drummer corded are the best. I agree. Yeah, somebody stole my last Dremel. One of my roommates stole a bunch of my tools, and the Dremel was one of them. So I had a nice one, and I just bought. Yes, sir, your name is Justin? And have you heard of the country rapper named Justin Time? He does mud bog. He throws those 4x4 mud whatever parties, festivals. I think he has a song called "Who Is Just in Time." I think his name's Just in Time. It's Justin something. Who is? I don't know. He's goofy to me, but yeah, it's yep. Who is Just in Time? Anyway, back to knives. So during the night, I worked on this side of this blade a little more. And as you can see, it is getting more mirrory. Let me see. Let me grab something that you could see the color or the text or something on. So there you go. You can see those black labels a little better. It is getting closer to mirror. You can almost read those words. You can definitely see them. Let's see if you can read those words on the end of this box here. There you go. It is getting there. I almost went out early this morning to go hit up Home Depot when they opened at 6 to grab some higher grit sandpaper, but I did not do that. So the highest I can find at the moment is some 2000. So yeah, you can see that is getting pretty close to mirror. I mean, I hope you can see that. You can see those words on the side of the box on the knife blade. Yeah, they're right there, and they're right there. Anyway, did a little more of that last night when I got bored. I disassembled this knife in order to put some lines on it. Thought it would be a good one, good candidate. And I also, so Ed, we'll get you to hop on here in a little while and show us how to do that. I've got some lower grit sandpapers, so hopefully I've got the right sandpapers to put some lines on those. I was going to try to wait till Pete showed up at least, but we don't have to. But Pete was really curious about that technique. Speak of the devil. So I went and threw together a little board out in my shop a minute ago that I can use as a guide here. So I got a couple boards that are pretty straight. These are nice wood. This is nice wood. It's not warped. Pretty flat. Got a good surface. This is got a pretty good edge here. So hopefully I can use that with these scales and hold it there against there. Rub it back and forth. So yeah, that'll work. Also, a couple of more things this morning before we get going. Let me get my phone situated here. What's going on with this stupid tripod? Come on, tripod, act right. Oh, I'm turning the wrong dial. Duh. So, when you go through the process, I thought this was a perfect knife to show that process of putting lines on it. It's got a bunch of snails, but it has that coating that I was trying to talk about yesterday. It has that blackened, thick coating. And Pete did a little researching. There's type 2 and type 3 anodization. Type 2 is what I was talking about yesterday with the sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid mixed together and kept at a certain temperature. And then type 3 induces a few more steps, a little bit harder process. But you can build up this layer on these by doing that up to like 3 millimeters thick, which is super thick, by using type 3. So it makes it super durable on titanium. So I actually went and found my some of my tools here that I hadn't used in a long time, and I haven't used these since back when I dabbled around in making some so I found my magnetic stirrer and hot plate, and I used to make my own vape cartridges, and we'll just say cartridges of other stuff. And in order to make those, you have to mix some stuff. And it works better if you heat it up to mix it. So I bought and I don't know where my thermometer, dang it, I don't know where my laser thermometer is. I need to have that, but I can show you all this anyway. A little bit about it. Let me get a side view camera set up here so we can see it. Let me see what's going on here with the IV cam. Settings, portrait, apply, okay. Boom, boom, boom. Why is it upside down? I have no idea, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Let me move this back a little bit. Dang it, got a mess over here on my desk, on my table. Whoops. Apologize. Should have been a little bit more prepared this morning. Why is that flipped upside down? Guess we can just flip it. Rotate, flip. What is going on with the upside down camera? Oh, it's always something, I tell you. I guess I could. Let me see if there's a button on here. Whoops, that was the wrong button thing to turn to. Man, I'm still half asleep this morning. Morning, Doc Seuss. Let's see what's going on with the stupid camera here. Ah, it was recording. Wonder if that had something to do with it. Well, I don't know. Okay, that's the wrong button. Well, guys, I'm having camera issues. Let me reconnect. I think it might be aha. No ha. Why is the stupid camera upside down? That makes me so upset. But I guess I can put it. No, I can't put it that way. I'm getting upset here, guys. Apologize. Bear with me for one more second. See if I can just put it sideways and fix this whole issue. All right. Now maybe I can turn it back. It'll probably be upside down again, which is going to piss me off again, but oh well. Yep, it's upside down again. And that is just stupid. But I have no idea why it's upside down. All right, so anyway, you've got the little... Ed, we'll get to you in just a minute. Why is the camera upside down? So, as you can see, the camera is upside down. And I could probably flip it this way. But now it's backwards. So then I can flip it, see, this way. Oops. That's how you flip it. Aha. Aha. Now I got it. All right. So now you can see my stir, my magnetic stir. If you've never seen one of these, they're pretty cool. But in order to do this titanium black anodizing, you've got to have something like a beaker. This is a beaker I've got. And I know a lot of I know a lot of slack-jawed locals have beakers and magnetic stirrers with hot plates. So that's probably pretty common. But I wanted to show y'all just a little bit of science this morning. So let me find my little stirrer. Y'all can see how cool this thing is. I'm not going to turn the heat on because I don't really need to at the moment. But this is what we will be doing probably next week when I try to blacken titanium. I was just getting stuff dug out, and kind of prepped a little bit. But this is always cool if people hadn't seen this before, a magnetic stirrer. So this keeps everything, the temperature even and everything mixed. But it's got a little magnetic peel. It looks like a little, it's ceramic, I believe, and magnetic. It's ceramic coated. And you drop it in there and you turn on the stirrer, and as you turn it up, whoops, where's the power at? There we go. So as you turn up the speed here, let me turn it down. It sits there and it stirs the liquid. And it makes a little whirlpool. I don't know if you can see at the top there. Here, I'll readjust here in a second. But, let's see. You can see the little tornado vortex it's making. But you can get it going really fast. Like super fast. Pretty cool little science trick. And if you've got two different liquids in there, or any kind of coloring, or if you're heating them up, you can get it. So anyway, this is what we'll be using next week. I dug it out and just thought I'd share for a second. But you can adjust the heat right here on the heating pad, so we can set it at 100 Celsius. Sorry, Ron Crow. When I cranked it up, you could hear the water. Pretty wild. Anyway, enough of that. Just thought I would share that I do have the correct stuff to do it with. When I was talking about heating up the sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid, yeah, I can't wait either, Pete. I'm pretty excited about it myself. Let's see how black we can get some titanium. And I've got some smaller beakers, but I figured this beaker would be good size to use for knife scales. And we're going to have to mix up enough so that I can totally submerge the scales in it. And my other beakers probably won't hold that much. So if you don't have a set of Pyrex beakers and a magnetic stir hot plate, you are not a stupid southerner if you don't have those two things. Most all stupid southerners have that in their house. Some might have it for other reasons than I do, a la old shake and bake. Not my style, but and I doubt they have equipment like that. Let me turn off this stupid phone cam. All right. So now, Pete, since you missed it, I've gotten this blade polished up a little bit over the night. There's some words on the end of that box, and you can see them. I'm getting a little bit better of a mirror polish. You can see those words on the knife blade there. Ron Crow, I don't know that I have links for the equipment per se, but all you'd look up is a magnetic stirrer. Just search for magnetic stirrer, S-T-I-R-R-E-R, and you should be able to find tons of different ones. And then beakers are just Pyrex borosilicate glass beakers. When I was at Home Depot getting the Dremel last night, I also grabbed some white Gorilla Tape, which Gorilla Tape doesn't leave a sticky surface when you pull it off, and it works great for taping up edges. So I did tape up the edges last night on this, Pete, just so you'll be happy with me. I put a piece around the plunge grind line down here, and I put a piece across the fuller. So that's getting better. Man, I need some more coffee this morning. Still half asleep. I wanted, before I get Ed to come on and show us about this sanding, I wanted to pop in and show a little video real quick about from this guy. Oh, there's the just in time. He's a goofy guy. That's what made me think of, yeah. Anyway, so there's a video right here that I thought y'all would find interesting, and it is from a guy that I follow that actually does really good work. But this is the video. Let's see, copy link, paste. All right. So this is his favorite method to polish and remove scratches from knives. Hold on.
To do for my customers, this is something I just do. I don't charge extra for it. I include it in my pricing. I've talked about my pricing before, but I do a flat fee. I do charge a little bit more than probably most of your people that you're going to see at farmers markets and things like that. They generally are in the neighborhood of like $5 a blade. I charge $10 a blade, but I also polish and take out scratches from people's knives. And so I just want to give you a quick shot of what I use to do that, because there's lots of ways to do it. Some people like using Scotch-Brite. I actually use something that I'm not sure how many people do this, but this is what I do. I use 3M and also a company called Dededco dental abrasives, or radial disc abrasives. You'll also see them called. And they're these little rubber discs that have abrasives built into them. The nice thing about it is because it's like a little fan, they tend to not overheat the knife. They come in grits from 80 all the way up to 2500. They most of them are good to up to around 30,000 RPMs on, and you can get all different kinds of them. So this one here you can see is a big one. So this is a what's known as a 6-ply. So it actually has 6 layers of those little abrasive discs. And I will tell you this, just so you know up front, they are not inexpensive, but they last a really long time. So yeah, they cost a lot. You know, this set of 6 right here, just the abrasives, not even including the little mandrels that I had to get for them, run about $70 for these. And now the smaller ones, you can find these pretty cheap. Now if you go to Dededco, they are more expensive, but I have also used Chinese brand ones that I get off of Amazon, and they work just fine. They're a little bit stiffer, but sometimes that's good. It actually can be a plus, and they do a really nice job. So let me just show you kind of like what they do and kind of give you some ideas if you use one of these. Now if you have a really big scratch to take out, and some of it depends on the knife and the knife's scratch pattern. So a mirrored knife, you're going to be way up in the 2500 range, or on these big discs they actually they go 6 micron and what they call a 1 micron, and this is the finest one. This is a 1 micron and this is a 6 micron. On the little discs they have this is a 2500. They're usually white. This is a 2500. 1000's usually a bright green, and you'll kind of learn the colors pretty fast. Now I find for
I hope y'all
certain
are
knives, cleaning them
enjoying
up,
this and learning
there's a couple
something.
numbers that
Sorry, I was
are very,
responding
very
to the
helpful.
text.
So if you're working on like a Wusthof or a Henkel's knife,
but let me
and it's got a bunch of like
we
bad
can't just watch
honing
this
marks
whole
or
video.
scratches
Y'all
in
can.
it.
I'll give you the links to his channel if you want to
220
check him out.
Works really well. So that's the red on both of these, or even the big one. Now the big ones will give you a nice even.
But Drummer had mentioned wanting to know a little bit more about
polishing.
polishing.
Ones are good for getting in there, and we're really working on like an individual scratch, or if it's a much thinner knife like this buck knife here. And so I wish I had started this video when I first started this, because this already looks this Winchester hunting knife here already looks a lot better than it did. But I'm just gonna keep working it and show you guys what this can do. So I'm just starting to work on this side. So let's see. So you guys can probably see, you can see some of these. There's some pretty deep scratches up here and some scratches down here. And you work this just like you would wood. You want to kind of go with the scratch pattern. The other cool thing with these discs is you can use them with water. So sometimes you can use them with cleaning products. So this is just a water sprayer. Sometimes I'll use a little Lysol surface cleaner. And so this one right here, this is a 400. So the purple's 400. I'm just going to get in here and just start touching up some of this. And I'm running this at about 1500 RPMs. And you can see, you know, you just want to go right there along with that original scratch pattern that's in the knife, and it will polish up and do just a really beautiful job quickly, relatively quickly. I don't want to say super fast, because these do take some, they do take some time. So you do got to put a little work in. And if it's a really deep scratch, you're going to have to go through the progression. So if it's real deep, you may not be able to get it out. Like
he said that the farmers market people charge $5 a knife, but he charges $10. But he gets all the scratches out also. Sharpening.
Taking most of these scratches out at 400. So I wouldn't have to go a whole lot lower than that. And just be conscious of your scratch pattern. So up here, you know, this knife has a straight scratch pattern that goes this way. And I'm just going right along with that pattern. And, you know, even if you don't take them completely out, if you take the majority of it out, you know, if it's just something you're doing for your customer to make it look nicer and make the knife look like it's new again, they're going to really appreciate it. They'll know, trust me, they will know the minute they see it that the knife looks a lot better if they knew what it looked like when they dropped it off to you. And can hear that looks already. So there's still some deep scratch marks up here I'm going to work a little harder on, but even the main part of the blade just already is polished and just looks 100% better. And this one, I see some parts here that need a little bit more. And it doesn't hurt, guys, also sometimes to go in reverse. So you don't want to put a bigger mark into the knife that's not necessary. So sometimes it's better to start with a higher grit and work your way particular pattern. It's not a little cleaning fluid. This area up here is a little deeper, and there's a little deeper scratch up here on the tip. So let's get in here with the 220 and see what this does. And I can see already that's starting to take those marks out, or at least making them a lot less visible. And you just got to be careful to make sure you hit the whole knife. Don't be careful when you get near the edge. You don't want to, like this knife has been sharpened. I usually do this cosmetic stuff first. Unfortunately, this time I didn't do it first, so I am being very conscious of my edge. And I can see already that's looking really good. And now I'm going to hit this area down here that really needed it. It had a couple big scratches down here. And I'm not, my goal is not to get every one of them out. I mean, the customer's not paying me. I do have customers that pay me to refurbish old knives. And, you know, if I'm doing a refurbishing job, then I'm doing a lot of this and putting time in. And for that, I charge $25 an hour when I'm refurbishing knives. You know, if it's a knife I know is going to take a lot of work, if it's not just a simple sharpening and cleanup job, I charge $25 an hour for anything that's not, you know, a sharpening, normal job that comes in the shop. If it's a, you know, new bevels, or I do a lot of old knives. Right now I'm refurbishing a pen knife for a customer, and I just got a new, not a new, but a new piece in, but a Cattaraugus 225Q. It'll be the second one I redo this year that I'm doing for somebody. Now I'm not going to hit this area back here. I want to hit that with a little finer grit, but I think you guys can probably see what a nice job that's doing at restoring that scratch pattern and taking this out. Now, one thing you do want to be careful
Nick,
around. Be careful around any logos. This
they
nice
don't.
Winchester.
That's not true, Nick. These are not carried at
especially
stores.
if the customer doesn't want to take it out. Be careful around any logos, because you can sometimes remove them.
These are dental. They're called dental abrasive wheels, and they're different. They're not sold in the regular kits. These things are not in the kits. You have to buy these, but they are on Amazon. I bought a set. I've got a set. Let me show you real quick. I'll hop over and show you how to find them. If you just go to Amazon and type in dental abrasive disc, maybe Dremel. So they come in these little packs with the colors. Abrasive wheels for jewelry, wood, metal polishing. And you can get a whole little kit. I bought one of these cheap ones. I would say try to get nicer ones. I bought some of these too. These fell apart, but these are abrasive wheels. And you can get them in different packs. But these cheap 100-piece ones that, or these, they make some better ones than these right here. But these are pretty cheap, and they will work. But they make some larger ones, like he said, and they make some better ones. Like these are better. These are some little wheels. Now some of these will come in those kits. But these bristle rubber ones won't come into just the standard kits. But just look up, and there's a website that sells the name brand ones. He mentions it in the video, and I will, all these kind of discs are in, like these are in their standard kits, but those are stone, those are different. These little rubber, these ones like this don't usually come in the little kits. But they come 80, 120, 220, 320, 400, 600, 1000, and 2500. And like I said, these are the cheap ones. The ones he's using in this video are better. And you can see that they're multiple ply. So he said the larger ones he uses are up to 4 ply. Ed, I've got the Skype link ready. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you on the Discord right now. And you can. Whoops, that's not it. That's the YouTube link I pasted. Hold on, let me get Ed the link so he can get in the background. So when we get done watching this video, we can watch Ed. Just know when you pop in, I'm going to be able to hear you in my ear, but they won't be able to hear you until I add you. But you can join whenever you want to. Just mute your mic if you join so I don't have you in my ear. Yeah. So let's watch a little bit more of this. I want to show y'all the end of it.
Unless the customer wants it removed, I usually tend to avoid the logos or work very, very carefully around it or in that area. And hopefully you can see this well, but it's really amazing. And once I started working with these dental abrasives, or what they call radial disc abrasives, I just loved them. And I think they're worth every penny. I think they're worth the little bit of extra money. Like I said, they last a really long time.
But as you can see, the ones he's using are not just one little, those ones you buy on Amazon.
These little Scotch-Brite discs.
Oh yeah, there's the other ones that I was talking about.
These things. And what I don't like about these is they make a ton of dust. They fall apart. If you use them. So you go through a lot of them. I do still use them a lot of times when I'm cleaning up gear, gardening gear, landscape gear. I do pruners and hedgers a lot, and I'll still use those Scotch-Brites because I have a lot of them. But I could be using. But
as I was saying, the ones he's using are not just one little layer.
They will remove rust.
Those Amazon ones are too flicky. Like his have
really
multiple layers.
A beautiful job
of those little fingers
up a knife, because
they're a lot better.
Their intention,
so I would search and try to find some of the ones he's using with the multiple layers.
These are
instead of just those little single layer ones that are on Amazon.
They have lots of uses, and
they might have the other ones on Amazon. I just haven't really searched in depth.
Are used, and that was the first time I saw these. That's how I found these things.
But I would say it has to do something with the ply. So it would say like 2-ply or 3-ply, kind of like toilet paper.
And my dentist didn't like the color of the implant they sent, so they sent me to get a custom implant.
So let's go down. Let's see him.
Knives. With this, still polish the knife up. I like to use flints. I've talked about that before. But can you guys see that? I mean, it looks 100% better than it did when it came in here. It is nice and shiny. And then when I hit it with flints and polish it again on my polisher, it's going to be really beautiful. In fact, I'll just even show you that too, because it's right next to me. So I'll show you what I do there. Now, when I use flints, I will sometimes use these little these are little cloth polishers.
It's flits.
And I also use
not flints, but
something from the jewelry industry.
I think
this is a jewelry polisher, and I'll back that up a bit. Let me just show you. The flints is great. I think I've mentioned this before. If I haven't, it's an awesome product.
It doesn't have an N in it.
You can use it on plastic, fiberglass, any kind of handle. It will not stain it. It's you can use it on your car. It's food safe, so it's safe for any knives. If you use it on a kitchen knife, I use it on lots and lots and lots and lots of knives. And the finish and protection it puts on there, they say lasts for about 6 months. And you just put it on like this. Sometimes I use my finger, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use a little rag. Just be careful.
That's what she said.
So I'll put it on.
And he uses the smaller wheels.
A lot of times I'll use
on the jewelry polisher
to really get it going.
So if you do buy a buffer polisher,
just to get in there.
You can buy smaller ones like he's about to show for knives that work a lot better for knives.
And it will turn black. That's normal. And as it dries, and then eventually it will just completely buff off and leave a absolutely beautiful finish. You can get it on plastic. I've gotten it on wood. It's very, very safe. It's safe for painted things.
I thought he was going to show his polisher.
I haven't had them. I've pretty much get a ton in the rack.
He started to pan over to it.
And dry it.
Yeah, here it is.
Show you that. So this is I got a slightly rougher wheel on this side, and then this is a pretty fine buff over on this side.
I believe those are 4-inch wheels. Yeah.
And I'll turn that on. Remember, buffing safe is from about here down. You never want to hit the other side, and if you're using a knife, you want to keep the knife edge down. This is a jewelry buffer, so I find it to be a lot safer, and its variable speed goes.
The variable speed is the key part.
I think around 1700, if I remember correctly, and then it goes.
Because the other ones go automatically to 3500. I think most polisher buffers.
No need. I use it at
And they're
almost
pretty
its
scary
lowest setting all
sometimes.
the time. But I really like it. I feel a lot safer with this than my big buffer. I do have a big buffer that I will use for knives. It's on the other side of the shop. It runs at about 3,500 RPMs. It's not variable speed.
That's what I just said.
And that's one reason why I don't like it. And it will grab a piece if you're not careful. I actually always wear leather gloves when I'm buffing with that thing. I wear a face shield when I'm buffing with it. And I try to be really, really careful with that when I'm using that. Just
yeah, they can be pretty scary. They'll sling a blade across the garage and you'll get freaked out.
It's going to hurt you. It's the buffer. Yeah, not this little one. Like I said, I'm not super concerned about the little one, and that's why I like it. I will even, like I said, this is kind of a no-no going this direction, but I'm not really close to the edge of the blade there at all. So I can hit this top part like that. But you do want to be careful when buffing, always. And that is looking pretty good. And that's what Flint's polish will do for you. Make sure.
Can't believe he says it with an N every single time.
And then I come back and give it a final wipe down with a towel and hand polish it a little bit, and I'm done. This knife is ready to go back to its customer. And you know, when it came in, the majority of the scratches that were in there were gone. And you know, could I get them out? I could, yeah. I would have to spend more time on it. But like I said, this isn't even something I'm charging for. This is something that I do for everything blown up. And so that's something you can do if you want. It's something you could either, if you're a knife sharpener like me, you could charge for, or you can just include it to just impress your customers. All right, guys, have a great day. And all
right, so this guy, if y'all want to check out his channel, he has some great videos. It's called Alexandria Knife Sharpening and Laser Engraving. So he also has a nice fiber laser that he does laser engraving with. He doesn't have one that does color per se. He usually does just black engraving, but he also has the video that I was going to show y'all one day. So there you go. Thought that would be quicker than me trying to explain it since he already had a video put together. But like I said, you can find those. Let's go see if we can find some of those. See how those just have one little layer of rubber? Those kind of suck. They may have two. No, they only have one. So, dental abrasive discs, multiply. So it looks like these might be thicker looking. Yes. Let's go to this Amazon link. So these have a bunch of plies. First blue, second red, third gray. Dental composite resin polishing kit. Yeah, so you can see in there that that one's a 2-ply, looks like. So those are better. So they will have, but he said they're kind of pricey. And so the ones you get 100 for $15 are not the ones he's talking about. Let's see if I can find some other ones here. I know there should be some dental supply places that have them besides Amazon that will probably have good ones. Oh, there's the brand Dedeco versus knockoffs. So Dedeco is the brand, Dedeco. So Dedeco International. Here you go. So these sunburst, they're calling them sunburst radial discs, and it looks like, let's see, shank, shape, tools, stack, disc stack. Okay, so they're calling it disc stack. So you can get ones that have 3 disc stacks. There we go. Those look a lot better. They even, and it looks like they have ones with lots of disc stacks. So they have ones with 4, 6, 8, 12, 55. What does a 55 one look like? Oh, wow. So they make wheels for those things that have 55 of those discs stacked. That's pretty wild. I would say the 4 to 6, 3 or 4 would probably be fine. I believe the ones he was using maybe had 4, and that's why he said they're kind of pricey. But right here is a 4-pack assortment. And these are only, and you can get tiny ones too. So these are less than 1 inch across. So you don't want to get those. You want to get the ones, oh yeah, they get, even the bigger you get in size, the more expensive they get. So these are 1 inch, which is the ones he was using. Anyway, Dedeco is the brand that you want to get. Yeah, TC, it's pretty dangerous using a polishing wheel. And like I said, I've got a brand new one that I haven't even unboxed yet. And I don't think it's a variable speed one. I think it's one I got off of eBay. Hold on just a second. But I bought a whole polisher that I haven't opened yet, and then I also bought a whole box. Whoops, you can't see, the camera is not big. Let me embiggen it. Embiggen. Come on, embiggen, you idiot. All right. So I got a box. I bought this too when I bought the polisher that I just kind of opened the other day to see what was in it, because I had forgotten. But it came with a whole little set of nice polishing buffing pads. It came with the thing to dress the wheels. So when you use a polisher, you have to dress your wheels, and you have to run this over it to break up the fibers once you get a bunch of stuff in it. And then it came with some of the buffing paste in the different grades. So they make 3 different colors for 3 different wheels. So this is the polishing. I bought some of these, and these are 8-inch polisher. And this is the kind he was talking about that'll sling your knife across the garage. But each one of these has a different color paste that you use with it. And after you get paste built up on them, you have to run this. You have to run this over them to break up the fibers. But you can buy a whole little set like this all together. And then this is the plate that goes on to hold them on. So I've got, I don't know, I'm one of those guys that has already got one of everything bought in case I need it. Like, and I have 2 of a lot of things. Y'all can kind of tell that with my knife collecting. It's kind of the same way. I guess I took the old Boy Scout adage when I was younger, be prepared, a little too serious. So if shit hits the fan, I want to not have to worry about having stuff to do, or having hobbies to do and have to find stuff. So I try to go ahead and stack up and have stuff. But like I said, I've not used it. Let's see, is Ed? Yes, Ed is in the Skype, and I'm sure he is. He looks like he's got his workstation all set up, ready to go. So Ed, as soon as you hear this, which should be in here in a few seconds. Oh, let me look at that link TC Blade sent really quick before I bring Ed on, just because I don't want to. There's the Deadco. So he's showing the Deadco Amazon store. I don't hear Ed responding to me yet, so maybe he walked away for a second, so that's cool. But it looks like they've got all their little stuff on there, including there's a Sunburst assortment. Well, you don't need all that, but let's see, discs, precision discs. There's some of the quadruple ones. So there you go. And you can buy the single ones, but I would say I don't think you'll be happy using the single ones. I'm just going to tell you that. You can try them, but I would spend the $50 or try to find, I don't know, maybe they make good knockoffs. Now I see Ed, the top of his head. Just kidding. I'm not sure if he can actually hear me. Oh, there's a hand. You can hear me, but you don't have a microphone. Oh,
do you want
there
to
we
hear
go.
me?
Yes, I would like to hear you. So I'm about to bring you on. Let's see. Let me bring the Skype up. Get it pointed towards you. Skype. There he is. Boom. Turn it on. All right. Now we are with Mr. Ed. I've even made him a name badge, which I will put in the corner there.
That's so sweet. I get gifts too.
Yep. Your name is on screen now because people always want to know who's on screen, so I figured out I would add that.
Well, there goes my witness relocation program.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So, yeah, show us how you put lines on something.
So right now, I've got 400 grit here. I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll do 80 grit. And this is a flat scale. There's no contour to it. So just a single layer of towel just absorb any liquids if you're gonna put. I usually put WD-40. It just makes it slide better. And this one, these lines on this one, I did putting this edge of the scale against this little piece of masonry.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, Ed. I had a button. The echo should go away now, guys. Sorry, I had the desktop audio. All right, go ahead, Ed. Sorry to interrupt you. No, they just heard it echoing for a few seconds. I had two audio sources on.
So, like I say, this one, those with the lines on already, I use this edge and put it up against here. And this is high enough that this won't like skip over it. And just go back and forth. Super easy. And depending on how much...
You're not pressing very hard, right?
Nope, not at all. And depending on how much you do... hang on. I gotta get a clean towel. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see.
Yeah.
And that's, like I say, that's 400 grit. So you get a little tiny bit of polish and very, very fine lines. Like there's
that middle looks like it almost sanded it completely, though.
Yeah. So if I put it flat on a table, it'll be flatter. But like I say, doing it on a towel, like a single layer towel or something, I do it on a towel table. Just make sure your table is sealed so you don't get liquid soaked into it. And the only thing, like I say, this scale is supposed to be flat. It might not be perfectly flat.
Yeah.
And
so the middle might touch more. Yeah.
Yeah. So the two things you can do is just be more aggressive with it, so you end up making it flat. Like you can see the edge, the very edge of the bevel is getting brighter because that's hitting the paper more, even on a totally flat surface.
Right.
But if you are 600 grit, 400 grit, a little bit more aggressive, you'll flatten it out eventually. If you just wanted to go whole hog, if you knew you wanted like 80 grit lines, I would just put it on 80 grit the whole time and just sand it down until it was where I wanted it.
Pete said to thank you for showing how you put the scales to where it's only touching in a couple of places on instead of laying the backside against it, so it's rubbing against the whole board,
Yeah.
So you put it the side that has a curve to it, so that it only touches in a couple of spots, so it slides easier.
So if this was so imperfect, like I have another knife taken apart to show that's contoured. So I'll show you that too, how to do that.
But no, I was talking about the orientation. You had the scales against the board, like the side with the curve, so that it doesn't touch the board. Yeah.
This has a slight curve to it.
Yeah.
So if you put it up against the wood, you're going to end up doing this.
Right.
You can't hold.
So you found the other side has 2 points that make it stable. Yeah.
Exactly. You just have to find. Like if I was going to do this one, I would put it here, because this curve, you'll wind up rocking it back and forth.
Right.
This one, not so much. Contoured scales, like I say, I'll show you how to do that. You won't have to worry too much about it because you're going to be holding it in your hand. But the same thing. So this is 80 grit. You see how it's going to look a little bit more aggressive?
Yep.
So if I keep doing that, and like the speed that you're doing it and the pressure, you can vary it to get the results you want. But eventually, where you want to get it, you'll get it there. It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, and of course, if any of y'all wanted to totally get your knife polished and get it like totally clean, all you have to do is use the same process, but just keep going until you flatten it all out.
Yeah, I could do this with 3,000 grit and put almost a mirror on it. I could take it all the way up to 20,000 grit and make it a mirror.
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing I would do with blades. The only difference is with blades, I do it in my hand.
And I guess with one with a curve in it, you could sit there and like kind of rock it, like roll it on the paper to where you're doing one section and then kind of roll it a little bit and do the middle section and then roll it to the other side and kind of tip it up.
Yeah, but you'll if you do that edge, you would have to be so perfect getting your lines to be completely straight.
Yeah.
You'd almost never be able to do it.
Yeah. I guess that's true. But when you were talking about doing it in your hands, I guess we'll see in a minute.
Yeah. So like I say, this, because of the color of the titanium, it shows up a little bit better. but it's basically the same exact process. And this one that I picked is a good one because it also has a insert. It's a reversible clip, and it has an insert for the side that the clip is on. Take the screw out, leave the insert in, so the insert gets sanded too. But for that, what I would do, give me a second here. Now, suppose I use this one. I would just put it in my hand. And my hand is what's going to be keeping it straight. Just so I get that contour in the shape of my hand.
Oh, so you just cup it, yeah, around the scales. Yeah. Okay.
And with that, you just have to make sure when you're putting it in the same direction for the lines.
Right. What knife is that, Ed, that you're working on there?
This one is asymmetrical chunk.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a Terramundi. Did you delete the flipper tab on it yet and put a hole in it?
No. What I just took the stud out of the blade and I just flick it off the hole that the stud was in.
Oh, yeah.
So this, because the pressure, like what you're putting your hand, it's going to take a little bit more time. But that's for contoured scales, that's basically all I do.
And Sever7 asked, if you were going to do a hand satin on a blade, would you use kind of pretty much the same process?
Yeah, I have done it. I have a knife I'm working on now that I'm doing it. That just takes a long time. But if you're doing horizontal or vertical, it's just you got to teach yourself going with the cutting edge, like doing that direction, up and down. You just have to do it in a way where, like if I was going to do this one, and I want vertical lines, I just have to make sure when I'm holding it, I have something here, like the lip of a towel. So I have the sandpaper and either do that or lay it on a flat surface and just sand across it.
Right.
But that, because of the steel's already hardened, that takes a little bit of time. And that's the thing. You be patient and you do it until you get it where you want it.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Questions? Anybody got any questions? Yeah, those lines look good.
See a little bit here that's a little bit shinier because this is already fade anode, so it's going to show up weird. I would probably do it before I anodize. But with this, it's the same. You're going to get highlights on your edges because of how it's hitting the paper. You would just keep doing it until you get it to where you want.
What grit for hand satin? Do you use something higher, like the 80 or 150 or something, or?
I would probably use usually between 240 and 400 just to start the process.
Okay.
And get any type of oils and any type of finish off the blade, and just drop it down to. I mean, you could do 120. You could do 240. 240 will give you good lines. It just depends on how aggressive you want it to look, how
right.
strong you want your lines to wind up.
Let's see. Oh yeah, and I was talking about yesterday how you can anodize with a higher voltage color and then put some lines in it and go back and do a lower voltage color.
Yep.
And you could probably even do that. Yeah, you could probably even do that 2 or 3 times if you really wanted to.
It's like this. So
Yeah.
the higher you do, the higher color.
Well, no, I was talking about in the lines, like in the scratch lines.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This would be the same effect.
Yeah, yeah.
You do your higher color, sand it down, and then do your lighter color.
Yeah, yeah. I thought on the one you sent me maybe that you re-anodized some of the lines because there's like a little rainbow kind of pattern on the Clydesdale. I thought maybe you re-anodized the little scratch lines, but maybe not.
Yeah, that one. No, but I did, but I didn't do an aggressive color change. And where the hell is it? All right, where the hell is it? Trying to find my son.
Let me see if I don't know where I put my Clydesdale either.
That one, if you rock it back and forth, you see there's a little bit of color change in the sculpting.
Yeah, sculpting. I can't ever remember that term, and I remembered it one time, and I was like notching, like what's it called? Yeah, sculpting. The sculpting. Yeah. Dang it. Feels stupid sometimes. Like I know how to work with magnetic stirrs and beakers, but I can't remember the word sculpting.
I can't remember if I got rid of the 27 or not. Oh, wait, I know where it's at. Hang on, give me 2 seconds.
I'm looking for the Clydesdale as we speak too. I think I put it in my good knife case, but not sure.
So this one, I did the color fade. So when I was doing the sculpting, I gave the sculpting a little bit of polish when I was done. So the color change is subtle, but you see it because of how the polish is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah.
And I haven't finished with this. I was going to put a little bit more mirror effect on it, but I didn't do it. But like I say, you can see just and if you have areas where it's brighter, it just makes it look better. I think it makes it look better.
Yeah, for sure.
And after that, what you could do is probably around 3,000 grit. I would probably do it if I wanted to give that a little bit of a sheen to it and get it blended with the edges better. I would hit like 3,000 on it. Get my lines where I want them and hit it with 3,000. Because 3,000 won't be enough to be super aggressive and get rid of your lines, but it'll give you a little polish. Almost not. It won't be totally mirror, but it'll be close enough. Like on this, the Rosie clone, the bevels, they've been that's as mirrored as they're going to get on this titanium, but most areas on the bevels are pretty good.
Yeah, that's
I don't
awesome.
know how good that shows up.
So, anybody else got any more questions for Ed? The
one thing
go ahead.
Remember, when you get done, any screw holes, anything, blow them out with an air compressor, throw them in the sink and scrub them with the scrub brush to get all the shit, the grit from the sandpaper out of there. Otherwise, when you screw your screws in, they're going to be gritty as hell and you'll screw them up.
Okay, that's a real good tip. Sometimes I get so excited to throw something back together, I forget that you got to do a little cleaning beforehand.
Yeah, that you have to make sure any parts that you're going to get the grit in, make sure you clean them. Otherwise, you're going to screw yourself horribly. You'll be on the search for new screws, and you'll have to you'll have to put thread chasers in to retap the threads. It's not fun.
Yeah.
As you can hear, I've done that before.
Yeah, I think we've all probably done that.
That's why I don't do it anymore, because it's a pain in the ass.
Any other tips you can think of, Ed, or you good?
For the hand rub, no, that's really like, it's super easy. There's really not, it's not much to it. Like I say, it just depends on how aggressive you want it to be. And you could even do, if you practice, you can do where the lines fade. Like you could start with 80 grit and get your lines where you want, and then drop it down to 120 and go over, like, try to fade it in. It takes a little bit of practice. When I do that, what I do is I put sandpaper in my finger and I roll it against where I want to start, and then just pull it back. So if I went from like 80 grit to 400 and gave it almost like a ramp effect to the lines.
Pete just asked a question. He asked if there was a way to like rub in some antiquing and make the lines darker, but I don't think on titanium. If it was steel, you could probably do something like that, like use apple cider vinegar or something like that. But with titanium, it's kind of touchy about what it wants to take because it doesn't rust. So you have to really anodize it.
What you would do is you would anodize it the color that you want, and then do your hand rub.
Yeah.
This one,
and like I said, you could go back and re-anodize on a lighter voltage, and it would fill in all those grooves that you just made with a different color.
Yeah. So that's the thing. If you were going to do that, you would do your
high voltage first. Yeah.
And then you would do your rub. Like this one, I could do that easily. Do my higher color.
Yeah.
Then put my rub where I want it, and just dip it and do 40, 50, 60 volts lighter for the lighter color. And you can see on this one too how those the edges around the bevel kind of gave it a
frame kind of look.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the hell they call that. Not letterbox.
Picture frame. Window pane.
I can't. The name escapes me. I can't think of what they call that. But that type of rub where your edges are brighter, that would make more like that looks more Western antique because of the darker color and the frame. If it was plain, it wouldn't look the same,
Right.
Like this is more
shadow box
overall. Shadow box.
Leave it up to Nick. Yeah, Nick came up with that one.
I don't know if the edge will show. I can't see the screen on the phone too good, but I don't know if this edge will show up. But this was mirrored with 3000 sandpaper, the edge.
And you just run it over just like it was a sharpening stone, but using 3000.
Actually, what I do is I just put the sandpaper on top of a stone.
Okay.
I have 20 grit stones, but I prefer sandpaper because that's what I'm used to. The only time I'll use stones is for profiling. Otherwise, I'll use sandpaper for that too. If I'm at work, I'll just grab sandpaper and do it. But like I said,
I think it's pretty funny. When I first started into knives, I took a bunch of particle board and some sheets of oh my God. What a catastrophe. What a catastrophe. Hold on just a second. Let me show my camera real quick. Yeah, I took some particle board and just glued some pieces of sandpaper to it that were some high grit to make my own polishing stones. And particle board keeps its flatness as long as you don't get it wet. But it's a lot flatter plane than other boards.
A convex edge is better cutting for certain things. So what you can do is take a strap. Let's say I was doing 600 grit. I would take a strap and lay it down because it gives you a little bit of cushion. and I'll put my sandpaper on top of that. So if I wanted to get a convex edge, which, like I say, is better for certain types of cutting, I would do it on there because that little bit of pressure sharpening it is going to give you that convex bevel.
Yeah. And what I was thinking too is when you were showing that curved scale, let me see if I can just add my camera up here in the corner without taking you off, because whenever I take you off, it takes off my the audio.
I can shut my video off. I don't,
no, it's all good. I still got you on there. But what I was going to show is, can you? You'll be able to see it here in a second. Actually, hold on. Let me turn on my Skype camera, and you should be able to see it automatically. Camera. All right. So, what I was thinking too is if you took your board that you had your knife on, you had your sandpaper here. I'm going to pretend I got this sandpaper the right way, but I don't want to scuff up this knife. So this is the same knife that you were doing with the curved scale.
It's like the chunk.
Yeah, the chunk. So if you laid it on here and kept that edge against the board just like you did, couldn't you kind of tilt it to get that one side and rub it back and forth, and then using the same lines, like you could keep the scale against there, but kind of tilt it to where you're rubbing it. I don't know if you can see how I'm tilting it, but I'm keeping those lines against. I mean, I'm keeping the scale against that board, so the lines would all be parallel, but yet I'm tilting it from one side to the other.
For that, like I say, I used that little thin masonite because it's easier for me to get, even on thicker scales. It's easier for me to hold the scale and have my fingers glide over this rather than trying to hold it against like a 2x4 or something, where I might lose control of how I can grip it.
Yeah.
But you can do a contoured scale by getting your profile how you want it, and just like if you were going to do it,
I think
just make sure you have your fingers in a direction and just brace it up against there in the angles, and just make sure you're maintaining that same. Like if you were going to put the edges here against it, you can absolutely turn it up and down to get your lines like that.
Right.
It's just for me, I grew up in the shop, so I'm used to doing things the way I'm used to doing them, and I always did everything by hand.
Yeah, that's no problem. I mean, some people, I mean, it's all about your confidence level and what you feel confident with. So, like, some of these people starting out.
I grew up in a shop, and the only time we would use machines or stones was on things that had to be precise: chipper blades, planer blades, stuff like that.
Right.
Even lawnmower blades, typically we would do those by hand. We would file them, and then we would run them on stones by hand, because that we could tune the balance better.
Yeah. Well, I guess if nobody has any more questions, I'll let Ed hop off here and I'll finish up. We're almost at an hour and a half, and my voice ain't gonna last forever. So, well, Ed, I appreciate you once again, buddy.
Absolutely. Somebody has to benefit from all the rocks and stuff that are in my head.
Right. We got to pass it on before we go, huh?
Yeah, let me tell you. People these days, they buy $400 fixed angled systems and don't learn anything.
Somebody asked what that knife is now that you're playing. Oh, that's the chunk again? You put it back together?
I just put it back together. That's the asymmetrical chunk.
Yeah,
I say, I just took the stud out. I flick it off. I don't even bother putting a hole in it.
Yeah.
I just
it's got that weird little edge around it, so I just wanted to. I'm OCD about stuff like that.
Yeah, but I just hit it with I think 600 grit. I just rolled up a little piece of 600 and just chamfered the edges a little bit. They were pretty aggressive, but now, like I can do it. It's almost perfect. It's got the perfect amount of grab.
Yeah, my sister picked up mine after I put a hole in it, and she was like, "Wow, that thumb flick is like perfect. Like the hole is like in a good spot." Like, yeah. Well, all right, Ed. We'll see you on the next one.
Well, hang on.
Oh,
I want to show off.
okay.
I just got this yesterday.
Is that a Devo?
It's a ATK Halt.
Oh, okay. It's a ATK
With,
what?
Halt. HALT.
No, Halt. All right. Yeah, that's a pretty knife. What does the ATK stand for?
Oh God, I know it and I never remember it.
I bought a Devo last night. Finally, another one. I bought that Growler the other day, but I bought a real one last night. I got a. It almost looks kind of like that. I don't even remember what it's called.
It's gonna sound dumb because it's probably self-explanatory, but the K does stand for knives. I can't remember if it's the guy's name initials in knives. I can never remember what it is.
Addicted to knives.
No.
I
mean that might be it.
I mean I thought that was somebody we had in the channel occasionally.
Well, there's addicted with the number 2. There's a couple of guys that call themselves that.
Yeah. ATK Knives. It's actually just ATK A.T. Yeah, the Halt drops 10-2. Yeah, so that came out last year, but you found one. Lewis, he doesn't say what ATK stands for, I don't think.
Yeah, I know what it stands for. I just can never remember it. I can find it. I can post it to Discord. I've got pictures to post of it in there anyway, so I'll get the name. I'll post it in there.
All right, yeah, I'm on his website right now, and but anyway, I'll show that in a minute. It's Lewis, yeah. All right, Ed, we'll see you on the next one.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Later. All right, guys. So I am not Edyards anymore. Right here is the guy's website. Right here it says the Halt. There's the Halt that he just showed. Says his name is Lewis. Fondness for knives. Teenager. And it really just doesn't. It says A.T. Knives. So I'm imagining it does stand for a name. And let's see if we can find. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Looks like the Halt is the only one he's made so far. Contact. Doesn't really have anything. Merch. Doesn't have it written anywhere on his merch. So I am not sure. Maybe somebody can figure that out. And it's AT Knives. AT Knives. So there's that. Yeah, this is my chunk right here on the table. And I did a flipper tab delete and put a bigger hole in it. I love this hole though. Like I said, when my sister... Okay, Nick, if you say so, I believe you. That's what Sever said also. I believe both of y'all. I don't know. But yeah, my sister grabbed this and she put her thumb right here on the top, and it does just fit perfect. But the hole that, like Ed said, the hole it came with it fits perfect in there too. But I love the chunk. The chunk is a great knife. And mine is one of a kind now, so it's even better. And I did start putting a mirror polish on it. Let me see if I can show y'all that. Where's that little box with the writing on it that I had? Man, I can't believe that avalanche I had a little while ago. That was pretty wild. So there's some words on the edge of this box. So you can see I started putting a mirror on it. It's actually not as good as the one I did, but you can see those words pretty good. Yeah, mine isn't exclusive. Mine is a chip knife. I did get a new watch the other day I didn't show y'all. It's a Bamford Submariner. It seems they do a little better quality on the replica the Bamford versions. But yeah, it's a pretty nice one too. The Cyclops on it is perfectly straight, and the rehaut looks good on the watch. The rehaut is that little, those letters that run around on the inside of that beauty ring, and the letters are supposed to line up with all the indices, so you can check. You can check that. That's a cool watch. 1931 Leatherworks, the Orlock from Concept. Yeah, I believe we saw that. Quite sure we did. Name sounds familiar. We'll know in a minute when I start typing it if the search comes up. Yep, right there, second one, Concept Orlock. And then we had to go to it, and I don't think it came up on this page. So we had to type in Orlock. And it still doesn't come up, so that's when we went back. Oh, we looked at this video because we couldn't find a picture of it. And that's when people talked about how they love Juvan. Yeah, we looked at that one. I think we looked at it last week, in fact. Cool knife, Nick. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention I got a real Devo yesterday. Y'all should be proud of me. So I bought a Devo Buzz from a guy that I had bought some knives from previously. And it is my style, and synchronicity. It had to be, of course, yesterday I was talking about doing the black titanium. So it had, of course, the one I ran across had to be a black wash. And so the one I got is this one right here. I got it for $130. It started at $170. He had it for $150, and I offered him $130. And since I bought knives from him before, he said yes. But it is the black washed version of the Devo Buzz. And I've got the Growler, should be delivered today, the little G10 version. And it's got a couple spots on it, but that's all right. I'm probably going to use, it might be one of the ones I take back to black after we do this process. Blade looks good on it though. So yeah, I got my first official Devo titanium knife. I believe originally that knife was $330. So for me to get it for $130 in that good a shape, I'm totally happy with that. I seem to run across crazy deals. Like I said, as you can see on the screen, he started at $170, then he had it listed at $150, and I offered him $130. So you can't beat that. You have 31 Devos, B Shady. Dang. You want to see a crazy post yesterday? A guy sold one of those Norseman clones. He sold it as a homage knife. So he didn't sell it as a clone knife or a replica knife. He sold it as a homage knife. And what's crazy he said he hyped it up by saying he had a rare one, well built, real deal, no cut. He paid it $320 5 to 6 years ago, and he listed it for $250. And someone YOLO'd it. I could not believe it, but the posts on here are pretty wild. Somebody YOLO'd it pretty quickly and bought it for $250. And then someone said, didn't one of these just sell for like $85 yesterday? And then somebody said, so this is a clone, right? And he was like, yeah, nowhere in the post does it say Grimsmo. Anyway, and then I chimed in and said it has the logo on the pivot, and the only reason it doesn't have the maker's mark is because someone polished it off the blade. Let's see the inside of it. And he said the inside says Hilberg. This was polished by them. It's not a mod. And I said, I've got 4 of them. I know what they are. I think you charge way too much. But as long as the person knows what they're getting, I guess that's on them. And then I said, now I know I can polish the blades on mine and triple their value. So that was a pretty crazy post. Can't believe he got $250 for that knife. That's the same knife that Ed sent me. So with the polishing talk today that we've been doing, all I got to do is polish the blade up, and I can sell them for $250. Which is pretty wild. Do y'all want to see what a little bit of a hand rubbed looks like on this knife before we go? The way this one is shaped, this back, it's curved inward. So I think I'll do it against this side because these 2 ends will hit before the middle does. Yes, TC? Is that a yes? Let's see what some lines look like. All right, let me get my bag of sandpaper, which is somewhere around here. Man, that avalanche was terrible. I had a mirror fall over and it knocked off a shelf, and the shelf was packed full of crap. So now I've got to do some cleanup after the video, which is all right, I guess. Yeah, I couldn't believe he got that much money for that knife. What grit do we want to see? I've got 400, 600, 150. I want to see what some 150 looks like. Some good 150. I'm kind of curious. I've got a piece that's already been used that won't be quite as aggressive as this brand new piece. I think we might try the 150. What is this? This is 180. Should we try a piece of this 180 or this 150? I'm going to try this 150 that's already had the points knocked off of it. It's kind of a little less aggressive. I've got some 60 and some 80 also. And like Ed said, it's better to start with a higher grit than a lower grit. Let's see what this is. This is 80. I've got a bunch of just random. Here's some 600. Random little pieces that we can use. It doesn't matter what brand you use, but I'm going to tell you the brand does matter as far as durability and lasting. You can buy these packs of this garbage sandpaper for real cheap. And like these, you can buy these and they come in different grits. There's like 120, 60s, 80, but they wear out way quicker than real 3M. So the Gator, this paper is good stuff at Walmart. They sell it, and of course, real 3M like this is probably the best. It holds, I don't know, it lasts longer, and you're going to end up spending more money in cheap paper than you would if you bought some nice paper. You'll get results longer. I've got a bunch of like discs too. I don't know, 120s, 50s, 80s. I got a bag of just random sandpaper. I bought a couple of sanders at a yard sale from a guy, and he threw in a bunch of extra sandpaper. So what, y'all haven't answered me. What grit should I start with? What do y'all want to see? Y'all want to see some 400 or some 60 or some 150? Because I've got some brand new 400 and 600. Do I have a piece of 400 left in here? Yeah, I've got a little piece of 400 that we could use. I guess I will start. I don't have any 240, I don't think, TC. You would ask for one I don't have. I've got 400, 600, 150, 180. Let's see. Yeah, of course you would ask for one I don't have. What is that? 320? This is some that has wood shavings all over it. 60. All right, I'm gonna make the call myself. I'm gonna use this 150 that's been used a little bit because it'll act like 180 kinda. Unless I can find that 180 piece I had a second ago. Yeah, here's the 180 piece I had. So that's the closest I had to, and this one has been used too. But we can use this part over here that hasn't been used completely. Let me cut, I want something a little more aggressive than the 400. I'm going to cut this piece off of here. All right. Here's a piece of 180 and a piece of 150. I think I will do a little bit of 400 first. And then we will move down to, let's see, where is that stupid paper? All right. Here's a little piece of, oh, that's 600. There's 1,000. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. There's 600 again. Dang it. Where's the stupid 400 piece? There's 1,500. I need to put that over to the side. Needing that piece. 680. Oh, well. I wasn't ready enough this morning, I guess. See, what is this little piece? It's just 600. I can't find nothing but 600 and can't find my 400 I just had out. I had a whole little piece of it and it disappeared on me. All right, we're gonna do what we got. Screw it. We'll do it live. All right, this is 180, this is 150. We'll start with the 180. I did not get a vortex from Tuya, if you're talking to me. Here's my little board. I need to make the board better. I need to put a strip down here, and then I can do short stuff over here and long stuff over here. But let's see here. Let me tuck this under the edge here a little bit. All right. Should be good to go there. And like I said, since this bows into the middle instead of out, I'm going to use this side because it touches on the ends. And we're going to go in dry, no lube, because that feels better. And let's just see here what we get. I'm not pressing very hard. All right, let's see what that did. So instantly, that looks pretty good. That's about what I was wanting overall in the whole thing. It was pretty even. The scale seemed pretty flat. There's a bigger section over here, which is fine, but the majority of it looks good. The end did touch more, like he said, but that looks pretty good. Let's now the thing about doing the lock bar side is you have to apply pressure to the lock bar to get it to bend down and be even with the rest of the side. So that is that one at 180. I think 180 and 240, just like he said, somewhere around there is a good lines. Like that one got some really good lines pretty quickly. And I didn't press down, so it didn't go into the titanium. But like I said, when you're going to do this side, you got to make sure to bend the lock bar down. And that's going to add a little bit more pressure than I want to add. So that's something I should have asked him. The best way to do this, and I almost think that you should do the rest of it and then do the lock bar separately and try to keep the lines. Use the cutout of the lock bar to keep it straight. Yeah, and as Ed was saying, if you want that shadow box, just kind of hold it up on the edge while you're rubbing it around the knife. Hold it up at an angle so that it just hits that. But with the lock bar, I almost think I should go over the rest of this part of it because I'm going to be putting too much pressure on it if I press it. This lock bar is pretty thick, and I'm going to be adding quite a bit of pressure. It's going to make really big grooves. Maybe I'll only go back and forth 4 or 5 times instead of 15. I guess I'll try that. I'll only go like a couple of swipes since I will be applying a lot of pressure on this lock bar. I'll only move it a couple of times. See what we get. All right, so that was four movements. And as you can see, it just about hit everything. It got this lower part, but I didn't even press the lock bar. Well, maybe I did because it got the end of the lock bar, but it didn't get that middle. So I'm thinking it would be better to do the main part of the scale. Yeah, like I said, this one is real hard to push. So when I pushed it, it dug in deep on the scale part, but didn't hit this very much. It hit it there really good where I was bending it. And that was only 2. And this was a higher grip. This is 180, so 400 would be better in a situation like this. But what I would almost do in a case like this is I would take something like a little, like this is a C-clamp I've got with a rod on it. And I would almost take it and wrap it around that little rod and then hold this rod end against the cutout on the scale. So if I can line this up with the end of the paper here, then I could hold this against this lock bar cutout, and I could use that to rub it back and forth just on the lock bar part. That might be a way to do it. Like I said, I'm just experimenting, getting into it. But like I said, this one I have to apply so much pressure that unless I used a 400 or something, almost going to need to do those lines a different way. That's all right though. We saw what it does. It looks good on this one with the 180. That one turned out really good. And I'm going to refinish this knife anyway. I'm going to bead blast it. I'm going to get my bead blasting cabinet going here within the next few days. So whatever I do to this, I'm going to end up bead blasting it anyway. So it really doesn't matter. So let's just see if I fold this up and do it by hand, what it looks like. See how bad the lines look. So I'm just going to make a little square here. I'm actually just going to cut it off so I don't have as much to work with. Where did I put those stupid scissors? Skizzers, where are you? Where did you go? I could have sworn I laid them over here, but maybe not. I've got too much crap around me at the moment. All right, I'm just going to tear it. I'm just going to make a little piece here that I can hand rub with. And I just made a little piece. I'm going to use this edge to hold against the edge of the scales right here. Against the lock bar. Whoops. And it slipped. So I'm going to start at the big end down here. Yeah, and that did pretty good on evening up those lines. And it stayed pretty parallel. I held the edge against that cutout so it kept them straight. So that worked pretty good on the lock bar. It's all about experimenting. Kept them pretty good and straight. So that worked to finish that area off. Needs a little more down here, which is fine. I can get a little more on the flat part because I didn't well, I need to keep the paper the same orientation, kinda. I was hoping it would tuck under that edge, but dang it. Let me find that other piece of that paper. There we go. Actually, this is the one that hadn't been used. There we go. So I can add, and I wanted to add some down here at this end. That looks pretty good. That is some. It's really aggressive. This 180, something higher, but that looks pretty good. It looks pretty close to this. So they match at the moment, kind of. Anyway, I hope y'all learned a little something today. I know I did. Mr. Ed is always a wealth of knowledge, and I appreciate him hopping on with us. If y'all didn't see earlier what I was talking about, I took a piece of particle board, 3/4 inch particle board, and I just glued sandpaper on both sides of different grits. And I use these to strop and do whatever. This is 1000 on both sides, but it gives you a super flat surface, and particle board does not warp like other wood. That's why they use it. It's a real dense board. They use it for speaker boxes and stuff for that reason. But you can make your own stones if you don't have stones. Ed said he used sandpaper for everything, so you can just use some spray adhesive and put some sandpaper on a piece of 3/4 inch. And I've got 3 or 4 of these that I made of different grits when I first started out. I didn't want to pay for stones just to, so I made my own. You can do that with just about anything. You can make your own. Well, guys, it has been another great day, as usual. Ed's got the skills. Yes, sir, he does. Gorilla Tape is great stuff. I bought some white because I already had some black. I'm going to have to putting a window AC unit in here for the summer. Says it's in the garage, and I just put new windows in my house on the end. The old ones were wood windows, and I had the little window AC skirt thing that goes to the sides of it. I had it screwed right into the wood. But since I just spent a lot of money on these new end windows, I don't want to screw it into the metal or aluminum or whatever they are. So I'm going to use some of this white Gorilla Tape to help seal the edges, keep bugs out. I've got some double-sided tape I'm going to use also. Those little jeweler discs are cool. Glad we watched that video. Pete, you're welcome. Hope you learned something from the video today. Y'all know how to find me if you need me. William, I will send you those pictures, I promise. I forgot last night, but I will send you the pictures of some of those Spydercos that I've got here after the broadcast. By the way, guys, William did not lose his certification, and yesterday that he was worried about. He has another month to do it, so he's all good as far as teaching. I believe it's somehow military related. So he did not lose his teaching gig. I told him everything would work out yesterday, and it did. So I'm glad that happened for Mr. William. I believe he popped in while Ed was on and said something about something else too today. I wasn't ignoring that. I had Ed on live, so I had to deal with that. Oh yeah, he got a Benchmade box yesterday. Not impressed at $450. This must be a clone and not a good one. But where he loosened the pivot, the blade rocks. Yeah, I would say only buy Benchmade clones. No, you can buy whatever you want, but that sucks that you got a bad one. Everybody that was here, appreciate y'all. TC, Ron Crow, Nick, B Shady, Pete, Ed, Keep It Scale, Stupid. Drummer, of course, every morning, right on time. Doc Seuss. William. Scott, always in the background. Appreciate that. I don't think I forgot anybody's name, but if I did, I apologize. I'm trying to scroll through chat and catch everybody's name. I think I hit everybody. So, Sever7, of course. Can't forget him. Always has good questions. Yeah, guys, appreciate y'all. We're right at 2 hours today. William's still here. Tomorrow is Friday. We get to have new drop Friday. See what's coming out this coming week. I always look forward to that. Real quick, I guess, before we leave, Sever had a question about which knife this is. Let's see if we can figure this out together. Hold on just a moment. Let me switch over to the browser. And I think this is the knife he's questioning. All right. He likes that blade shape, just like me. Does anyone know that maker's mark? Let's go back and get a close-up of that maker's mark. That's about as close as I can get it. Actually, it's not as close as I can get it. I can do this. Do this. Do this. Do this. Do this. Do this. Hit save. Whoops. Save. Untitled. Browser. File Explorer. Desktop. Untitled. Drag it over to Firefox. Drop it in. Zoom up. Do we know whose maker mark that is? Looks like a SP. It definitely is a SP. So let's see who makes SP knives. SPK is one of the only ones that doesn't have a K. Spec Plus, only other thing. Let's see, S space P. I don't know. That must be a custom maker. Yeah, SPK has a K in it, Ed, on the logo. SPK Unlimited, the Lamia logo is different. It's got a K in it, as you can see right there. So their logo is a little different. This is the logo. And then here, if we go back to the video here, watch it one more time, you can see the actual knife. It ought to be very recognizable. Someone ought to be able to do a Google Lens with it and find that knife, because the pivot and the screw Surge logo. Aha, his last name does start with a P, right? Some kind of foreign name. Surge Pachinko. That's what it is. It's a Surge Pachinko. Good job, Nick. I call you Ned. So it's a Surge Knives. See if we can find that logo. I'm sure it's on here somewhere. But, yep, and he does those blade grinds. So I'm not sure exactly which knife it is, Sever 7, but we got you pointed in the right direction. Surge Knives. It's probably a custom. Yeah, SP, Surge Pancheco. So yeah, that was something popped up in the pickled steel. Oh, is that the name of the knife? Sorry, I was thinking that was another pickled steel logo. Yeah, we could be wrong. Like I said, somebody should be able to Google. Yep, that's their logo. So we were wrong. I'm glad Pete came through with the right answer, because that is definitely their logo. And there's that knife, I believe. I swear that was just that knife. Right there. No, the pivot. The pivot and the back should be the very noticeable part of that knife. But that is a pickled steel logo. As y'all can see right there, it's a SP. Pickled steel, it's a PS. So now it's just about finding that knife. I believe that one was titanium, but I could be wrong. I would say they only have a couple of titanium ones, so it's not titanium. It must have been G10. I mean, well, I don't know what the material was. I really couldn't tell. Could have been micarta, I guess, but I imagine it was micarta or G10. But that big round pivot and matching screw on the back should be the most easily recognizable part of that knife. I still don't see. Oh, there we go. Here it is. Right here. The pivot. I mean, the screw and the pivot back there. So it is a $36 knife. Wow. Looked awful nice for a $36 knife. So it's called the Fandon. Nick, it's not a custom. It's a $36 knife. Which is pretty amazing. No, it just kind of looked titanium. That's what I thought too, but it wasn't. It wasn't titanium. I can show you again. We'll look. It just kind of looked titanium. But it's G10. I'm pretty positive. Yeah, see? It's that same G10. It just looks titanium, but it's got the G10 texture. It's that same exact knife that I just showed. I don't know if it's clear enough on your end, but that is G10. It's not titanium. you can see the liners reflecting behind it. So you know it's not titanium because it wouldn't have liners if it was titanium. So yeah, it's this one right here. You can see the same liners behind it. Yep, there's the liners back there. It's all good, Nick. I appreciate you trying to answer. It's D2 steel. Got that nice blade shape I love. Let's see, do they make the Fandon in any other thing besides black? I mean, besides G10? Let's see, pickled steel, Fandon. Fandon Brown. Outback Trading. Folding Knives. Keyword. Fandon. So they only make 3 versions of it. Pre-order. Cart. Where's my cart? Let's see what kind of shipping. $9, so $45 if you want one. I'm not sure if they have a promo code, but they do have a spot for one. Somebody might could find one of those. Pickled steel coupon code. And now we are done. Sever 7 will have to go back and watch that if he's not here to figure out what knife that is, but we can send him the link in the Discord since we know now. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. Remember, clones are life. But no, knives are life. But no, clones are life. No, knives are life. Clones are knives, so knives covers it. All right, guys. We tracked down another one. We finished another one. This is episode 91. We're getting close to number 99. Be here day 99 so you can get your name in the entry for the drawing. I think I'm going to give away 2 or 3 on the 100th episode. Haven't decided yet, but it'll either be 2 or 3. It won't just be 1. So be here for that. Yep, clone knives matter. Anyway, guys, it's been fun. Appreciate y'all. Hit that thumbs up on your way out if you don't mind. It helps the algorithm. And some of y'all hadn't subscribed. In fact, I got a message that Nick hadn't subscribed until about a month ago. So that's not cool, Nick. I'm just joking. But you know, you get those little things where it says so-and-so subscribed, and I got one from Nick, and it surprised me. So I guess I should tell y'all to all subscribe if you haven't. And maybe it was an old message that popped up randomly, but when I added that Streamlabs plugin to OBS, it popped up some messages, and that was one of them. But I'm sure he was already subscribed. It was probably an older message, hopefully. But yeah, give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. Subscribe if you haven't. And we will see y'all tomorrow morning. Yeah, Nick, like I said, it was probably a glitch. But it did make me think that some people pop in here probably and aren't subscribed. I appreciate you, Nick. Thanks for all the help you do in the channel answering questions. Anyway, guys, have a great Thursday.